So my name is Sam, 27, originally from uh, Pennsylvania, and this is a story that happened um, years ago that I'd almost completely kind of forgot about and/or blocked from my memory. Uh, Basically, what had happened was it was 2009. Um, Around this time, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 had recently come out, and so we were excited. We had a bunch of guys there. It was, I think, me and seven other people, and we're at my friend Jake's house. Where I was from in Pennsylvania, it is out in the middle of nowhere. A lot of people call this area Pennsyltucky because it's like kind of no man's land. Even though we went to the same school and everything, he actually lived 45 minutes away. So I had like just become, a licensed driver, but drove out into the middle of the woods, like 45 minutes away, to go hang out and play Call of Duty. So there's a bunch of us there hanging out. We have, there's a couple of people like back on his waterbed, which is kind of a weird aside in its own. And then, a couple people on the floor in those cool little like gamer chairs that rock back and forth. And, we're just having a ball. So I think it was probably like later in that night, around like 10 or 11. We're in between games, just kind of chatting, and Jake starts to tell us this story about his younger brother, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's fucking weird, man. I didn't know you had a brother." And he goes on to tell us, it's like, yes, because his brother ended up dying. His brother had died when he was 12 in an ATV accident. It had like rolled on top of him, and ever since then, like a bunch of weird stuff would happen around the house. And he had kind of started telling us about this. His dad had a garage out back, like kind of secluded back in the woods, where uh, his dad and his brother would hang out a lot. And they had noticed, kind of a couple years after this whole thing happened, that, kind of weird stuff would happen around the house, specifically in, this garage. Like they would put down, paint for to be able to paint a car, and that paint would go missing, and then it would show up in other places. They would have parts down, they would go missing, they would show up, either in the garage or in different places. And um, one of the times, um, stuff had started showing up in the basement, and he goes on to basically tell us that where his brother's room was in the basement, and it was a fully furnished basement. But since then, nobody had really been there. It was just kind of a laundry room. They would use it in the daytime, but definitely not go down there at night because just weird stuff would happen. Like doors would open and shut, lights would turn on and off. Around this time, I kind of noticed that people, like friends, one at a time were leaving and coming back, and I was just like, "Oh, that's like weird or whatever." They're probably just going to like take a shit or something. Didn't think too much of it. So he goes on to say basically, "Okay, and anybody who can spend more than 30 minutes down there, um, I bet you can't. We'll give you like $20 if you can spend more than 30 minutes down there." So everybody takes out what like random dollar bills they have, put it on the table, and finally there's enough where I'm like, okay, like I'll fucking do it. I don't believe in ghosts. Ghosts aren't real. Like you guys are all just being pussies. This is not like a real thing. Um, so they say, okay, go do it. Go do it. We have the cash here. If you can spend more than 30 minutes down there, we'll give it to you. So as I was like about to head downstairs, one of the guys says to me, he's like, "Oh, um, you know, ghosts. You'll know that a ghost is there because of a magnetic field, and compasses, are basically little magnets, so you'll know that the ghost is there." So I say, "Okay," and I take the compass from him, and I start walking downstairs. Um, it's totally dark. I couldn't turn on the lights, and they closed the door right behind me. So I walk down the stairs and I have, my the flashlight on my phone, little, LG chocolate, taking it with me to kind of guide my way. That's all they said, that I could take. And I go down and I sit on the couch. At this point, I'm feeling like pretty confident this is going to be, some real easy money that I'm about to make just by hanging out down here for 30 minutes. So I place the compass in front of me on the coffee table, and I know that phones can be weird with like magnets and compasses. So I have the phone and I'm holding it far away enough from this compass that nothing's going on. So I turn off my phone light for just a little bit and kind of hang out and wait. A couple minutes pass, and I'm saying, oh, okay, what's going on? I can't see this compass at all because it's pitch black in this basement. And I take it and I shine it onto the coffee table, and I see that the wheel is kind of slowly starting to spin of the compass. It's going around, and then suddenly it starts to pick up speed and spinning faster and faster and faster. And once it starts really gaining momentum is when I start panicking and I start really, really freaking out for the first time. And at the point where this thing is just going around and around and around 100 times a minute is when I say, I cannot do this anymore. I am freaked the fuck out. This ghost is absolutely real. And I'm out of there. And I go to run up the stairs, and I get to maybe the 4th or 5th step up. All of a sudden, I hear this noise that it's kind of like it's almost like a TV turning on, but much louder. And it goes, whoomp, and the TV, out of nowhere, turns on. And I look back and I see the TV. And on the TV is a mother. She's in a nightgown. She's kind of consoling a young boy who's sitting on the couch. And I am absolutely terrified at this point because it's all in black and white. This TV show is in black and white, and I had remembered something from a previous time I had been over at his house that, the TVs are all on one channel. If you change a TV from one input to another, you change it from you're watching the news or something, you want to go play, Call of Duty, for example, that's going to change the TV downstairs. And I see this and come bursting up out of the room, absolutely terrified, out of my mind, and saying, guys, I can't do this. This is absolutely terrifying. And they are like, yeah, we told you there's a ghost down there. Like, this is my brother's ghost who is at the house. And I say, I start trying to rationalize a little bit. I'm saying, well, it can't, I bet you had something on the TV, and they show me, and nope, it's still the same. They're playing Call of Duty upstairs. It's a completely different thing on downstairs. We try and switch the channels. They all come down with me. We turn on the lights, just because I'm saying, hey, we gotta prove that this is not real. And sure enough, all of the channels change on the same frequency. Nobody can explain what happened, except saying, this was definitely the ghost. And we probably talked about this for another hour or two, and we were, I'm absolutely fully convinced of what I saw. The thing that I learned a couple days after this sort of, incident happened, is that during the time that we were playing Call of Duty, and I noticed people leaving one by one, they were actually going to masturbate one by one into a cup that they were going to pour on me. But the thing that happened is they got so distracted. They got absolutely so distracted by this whole ghost thing, and me, the skeptic, having this firsthand experience. They forgot entirely about this cup of semen that was hidden in Jake's dresser until Jake smelled it a couple days later and pulled it out and was like, what the fuck? There is a cup of cum in my dresser.
I'm sorry. He got the cum cup. That's the biggest plot twist I've ever heard.
It was just like, but so that now I gotta.
They're gonna come on you?
Yeah, they were fully going to dump a cup of cum in me, and then I also found out, because we're talking about this, days later at lunch, that the last person who had to try and masturbate into the cup, it was like on the verge of spilling on him. So it took him like the entire time that I was down there, and by the time I came bursting up, he didn't even get to finish and contribute to it. So
wait, so he was trying to jerk off 2 floors above while you were getting scared by the ghost?
Yeah, the last guy, while I was getting scared by the ghost, they were like, okay, we're gonna finish the cum cup by distracting Sam, but it ended up that this ghost is completely real, and the ghost ended up saving me from like embarrassment and just everything that went along with it, because I was like a newer friend to the group at that time, so they were always kind of messing with me.
Who's the prank really on at that point? Like, I guess you get it on you. You have to like wash your clothes and it's gross. But then again, like at the end of the day, that didn't happen. And they're just like 7 dudes who all jerked off in a cup together.
They're just having a bukkake by themselves.
Yeah, just like jerking off to your own friend's cum. Like looking at it. I presume they were looking at it because you were saying that it was like hard because he was worried about the cup spilling. So he was looking at that weird mixed, Chex Mix of cum. That's fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, I'm a little speechless. You got saved by the ghost.
I got saved by the ghost.
I'd like to say, on behalf of the podcast, fuck those kids.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
they probably grew up to be pieces of shit.
Yeah, I have a different group of friends now, to
good,
put it lightly.
And they hopefully don't come on you.
Yeah,
unless you want them to.
Yeah.